Minister, welcome back. You were here in 2019, 2021 when I was here. There's a few of us left on this committee. Thank you to the staff, Ms. Mondu, and the three Andrews that are here today. Mr. Minister, I just want to raise again this workplace culture with CBC that Ms. Thomas, I just want to get it on the record, if you don't mind. When you did meet with the new CEO of CBC, Marie-Philippe Boucher, you did not raise the workplace culture or the toxic atmosphere at CBC, or did you? Yes or no?
Madame Bouchard et moi avons parlé de plusieurs choses.
Madame Bouchard and I spoke about several things, including the importance for the public broadcaster of being aligned with Canadian values, of course, as well as the values being defended by the Canadian government.
You talk at all about the workplace culture that has all of a sudden percolated, if you don't mind me using that word, with the CBC recently?
Je pense que là-dessus, on va devoir s'entendre sur le fait qu'on ne s'entend pas. Moi, je ne partage pas votre opinion.
We have to agree to disagree. I don't agree that you can take a few isolated cases and generalize to the entire public broadcaster when it comes to the whole issue of the atmosphere at work and working conditions for thousands of employees at CBC. We can't take a few isolated examples and say that this is the way it is for everybody. I don't share your point of view. But where I do agree with you,
I mean, it was on every...
Médiatisé, mais ça ne
yes, it's got a lot of media coverage. But that doesn't mean that the situation is generalized across the public broadcaster. That's where I don't agree with you and your colleague. I don't share that point of view.
You share this, Minister, with the CBC. As you all know, the viewership is down, the revenue is down, and in fact, the trust is down. And the former CEO, when we had Ms. Tate here, actually agreed with the trust in CBC is down. The streaming platform subscriptions, we don't know where they are, but now your leader has promised another $150 million to CBC. How is this possible? I'll tell you what it is done in Western Canada. Okay, CKSA Lloydminster has served that community for 60 years. Stingray shut the station down because CBC's there now. And the same with CHAT Medicine Hat. 70 years in that community, television is gone. 70 years in Medicine Hat, gone. So while you say the public broadcaster is this and that, I want you to know the public broadcaster has crept in and has destroyed private media in this country. I gave you two examples here, 60 and 70 years. Your thoughts on that? How is this reasonable?
Nous en avons parlé tout à l'heure avec votre collègue.
We discussed this earlier with your colleague, Mr. Champoux. In Canada, and when I'm talking about traditional media, in Canada, as elsewhere, everywhere else in the world, or almost, is experiencing difficulties with the advent of the online platforms, with advertising budgets that have gone from local television and newspapers to the web giants. I think looking at a global problem and saying that it's Radio-Canada or CBC's fault, well, I just don't agree with that. And I see that people across the country are saying, we want CBC here in our community. I've heard that across the country.
They hide the numbers of Gem. You know, there was an ATIP on CBC this summer asking just, how many subscriptions do you have to Gem? Oh, we can't tell you that because it wouldn't be fair to our competitors. Crave, which is owned by Bell Media, actually has 3.8 million subscribers in this country. And yet, for CBC Gem, we can't share it. There's free subscriptions, and then there's the paid, $5.99 a month, I think. So is that fair when you say, you know, the public broadcaster is hiding when they're asked? We'd like to know how much money is put into Gem, how many viewers. It might be, Minister, that Gem is useless and it should have been torched a long time ago. So when they're covering up, as a former broadcaster, when I see them, oh, we can't tell you, then I know there's red flags with the corporation. I know that for sure. And in Ontario, I'll just tell you, 0.35% of the streaming market in Ontario participated in CBC Gem. That's not even 1% of the province of Ontario. So that tells me little or no participation in this country on Gem, whether it's free or subscription-wise.
Thank you, Mr. Waugh. That's your time, and we'll move
I don't
over.
think I've seen 7 officials ever. I've been on. Yes. Yeah, I've been on this committee for 10 years. I don't think I've seen 7 officials from the department in front of me, but that's enough. Does anyone know the GEM numbers? You know?
We don't. And
Have you
it would
asked?
be a good question for the CEO. I think you have called her before this committee. Maybe that's a good question for her when she appears.
Yeah. Does the Heritage Department think it's important to know?
Madam Chair, it's hard for me to pronounce because it's under the Access to Information Act and they have applied the legislation, so it will be myself second-guessing the application of another act by another organization. So I think asking her directly would be the best course.
So we hear of a possible 15% reduction. I say possible because I've been around the House for 10 plus years now, and they say one thing and do another, but 15%. So have you looked at your budgets? And Ms. Mondu, in fact, and you were just in Regina, and you know my interest in the RCMP Museum. And the department has 2030 kind of said, we'll give you 12 million over the 4 years. Is that still on the table?
So I had the pleasure in Regina to meet the chair of the board, and she's coming the week of October 6th, I think, and we'll meet again. There was in the FES 2024 some money for the museum for not this fiscal year, but next fiscal year. So we have a bit money from the FES 2024 that is for the museum. But obviously this is something that the budget decision are not made by the department, they're made by the Minister of Finance.
Yeah, I think you can appreciate the angst, if you, okay? I mean, they have done their budgets. They want to be a national museum. We have so many here in the Ottawa region, and maybe in Halifax, Winnipeg, and now the RCMP Museum in Regina, but they would like to know if the fall economic budget from last year, which said, I'll give you in the next 4 years, $3 million each. So what would you say if they're watching now and they're coming in October, they've had discussions around the table, and they want to know if that funding is there or not?
Thank you for the question. I will say the same thing that I say to the chair. They have done amazing job. You are absolutely right. They have done amazing job over the last couple of years to really bring new consultation, deep work in bringing that solid foundation for the museum. But I will say also that ultimately those decisions are not mine. They will be the Minister of Finance, and therefore that's only I can hope for it, but I cannot tell you for sure.
So what was, I think, linked as a great possibility of 12 million to 2030, you're saying it isn't guaranteed anymore, right? Is that what I'm listening to you?
What I will say is we had a change of government between the FES 2024 and this government. It's a different government, so they have to obviously decide if they are still comfortable with the decision of the previous government.
Same government.
Yeah,
just a
but it's
different
still,
leader.
in law, it's still a different government.
That's disheartening, though, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah.
Because when it was promised, then the wheels get pushed in motion, and they're a little angst. I did meet with them. You were in the city. And they should be on their tippy toes, if you don't mind me saying right now, because there doesn't appear to be any commitment, even though the public safety minister wants 1,000 more RCMP officers 7 steps away from the museum. You're not really committing any money now to the museum that I see, the 12 million. Is that true?
So the organization also met with the minister and discussed exactly what you have raised. So they have here, the minister have heard them.
The Canada Strong Pass, it was talked about a little bit by the minister when he was here because pretty good program. You provided free or discounted admission to national parks, to our museums this summer, historic sites, even some train travel. Is the government subsidizing the lost revenue for these groups that I've just mentioned?
So the PASS program was basically cost neutral for the organization that participate, and they are going to be indemnified for the cost of offering those services for free.
If I go to a national park where I usually pay, and now I didn't pay because it was free, how are they going to even their budgets out, if you don't mind me asking?
My colleague would be happy to
Good.
take that one.
Andrew.
Yes, thank you very much. And the way that we will be, we did keep track of those that have come into national parks and national historic sites, those that came in for free, and we will be compensated for the value of those individuals coming into national parks and national historic sites over the 2 month period of the Canada Strong
Number
Pass.
B.
So right now we're at about 10 to 11% increase over our previous year, 24-25. So we will be looking at once we get our final numbers, we'll present them to the Treasury Board, and we expect to be remunerated for that lost revenue.
Could you give our answers, if you don't mind, your answers? Could you provide them in writing to the committee? We would like, because we probably won't see as many of you here, but we would like to know the numbers over the 2 months, the dollar value, and, you know, are you going to compensate? And we'd
Thank
like
you,
to know
Mr.
those
Waugh. You're out
numbers.
of time, but I will leave the analyst with that
Yeah,
request.
good.
Okay.